All right, signs that I would get drunk with. This is gonna sound dumb, but I would potentially hang out with slash drink with any sign. Especially if we're talking about sun signs, which I know a lot of people watch these tier videos and they think of sun signs, but I never said sun signs other than there are a couple videos where I specifically mentioned sun signs. But generally speaking, I'm just talking about the signs here themselves, not really specifying any placements. But that being said, I'm always open to any sign. And I know that sounds like a cop out. That sounds like a very generic answer, but that's just the truth. I like all the signs. I want to hang out with all of them. But I do want to hang out with some signs more than others, depending on the circumstances. So that's what we're going to talk about today. What sign would I want to get drunk with? Sun, moon, ascendant, whatever. First with Aquarius. So Aquarius, as usual, kind of stumps me. Honestly, I think this would be kind of middle of the road. I think Aquarius is a sign I can relate to in many ways, but at the same time, we do have our differences as well. I find Aquarius hard to. I'm kind of assuming that this is like a new person, if that makes sense. It's not like someone that I already have a relationship with. So if it's a new person, a stranger that's Aquarius, would I want to get drunk with them? I do think Aquarius can be very original and very unique, which I very much appreciate. I think that could make the experience very interesting. And I forgot what I was going to say after that. But I don't know. They can also be very, how do I put this? I've met Aquariuses that can be very dismissive. Like, they do not give a fuck about meeting you or what you're about. But on the other hand, they can be very interesting too. I'm going to put them in the average tier, at least for now. Next is Aries. So, man, this one's tough too. I hope every sign isn't as difficult for me to rank as these two so far have been. Aries, as usual with Aries, it's like very hit and miss, right? Aries is very black and white. I think Aries is very engaging. They're very entertaining. The only thing I would have any kind of reservations about is that we don't have a lot in common. I'm an overthinker. With me, nothing is really black and white. I'm very inconsistent. I view everything as like different shades of gray. So I think that can just be maybe off-putting or not worthwhile for an Aries. On the other hand, though, I love Aries' simplicity, like their black and whiteness. They're very straightforward. I love people that are very like direct. I don't want to be like, I'm already complicated enough as it is. I love other personalities that are a little bit more straightforward and like concise. You know what I mean? So yeah, especially getting drunk with an Aries, they can be a little belligerent. Again, probably more belligerent than me. I'm gonna put them in the fun category for now. Yeah, I made this drink and it is not good, y'all. It's like this jasmine tea probiotic drink that I found at Dollar Tree, and then I added rum to it. Very strange. It helps if you're already buzzed if you're gonna drink it though. Next is Cancer. Oh, Cancer, we're gonna put it at the very top. So I've had honestly, some of my best experiences drinking with someone have been with Cancer. They can drink like a fish. I know Cancer is the crab, not a fish, but they can drink. At least the Cancer Sun people that I've met, they can drink. I'm sure there's a lot of Cancer people out there that don't drink at all. But the ones I've met and hung out with, they know how to drink, and I think they have the right balance, at least for my personal taste, of they have a certain amount of wildness, but they also have a certain amount of composure, if that makes sense. That's kind of how I am too. I'm not completely like rigid. Like, I'll get shit faced with you if we're having a great time. That's fine. But I'm also not like quite as belligerent as maybe, like Aries, for example. So I think me and Cancer can kind of vibe on that level. And yeah, I don't know. They're kind of conservative. They're kind of composed, but they can be pretty wild too. Plus, I think we could have some great conversations. I tend to vibe very well with Cancer, and I'm not sure why. I have hardly any water placements at all. I have no placements in Cancer, other than the IC. My moon is in the 1st or 12th house, depending on what house system you use, though. The moon is near the ascendant, so I think that's why I tend to vibe with Cancers. Plus, I'm pretty shy, and I think Cancers like personalities that are a little bit more vulnerable. I don't know. So yeah, Cancer definitely at the top of the list. Next is Capricorn. This is a weird one. I'm trying to think about my. I'm sure I've gotten drunk with a Capricorn, someone, whether it be sun, moon. Okay, Capricorn moon, I know for sure I've gotten drunk with. Capricorn sun, though, actually, yeah, I have as well. Maybe I get drunk more than I thought I did. But anyway, just in general, would I want to get drunk with Capricorn? Capricorn's a very composed sign, very reserved, probably even more than me. And, they're a little bit serious. Capricorn to me is like family. I have multiple people within my immediate family that have moon, sun, rising in Capricorn. I don't know. To me, it's like a family sign, for better and for worse. Do you want to get drunk with your family? To me, that's kind of what Capricorn feels like, even if it's not someone that's actually in my family. Capricorn just feels like family to me. I don't know how else to explain it. So that being said, I'm gonna say average maybe. I think they can take things a little seriously, and if I get really drunk, I might run the risk of offending them, maybe. That's the only thing I would worry about. I worry about that with Cancer too, but in a weird way, that actually seems to happen less with Cancer if we are inebriated compared to if we're sober. With Capricorn, it's kind of the opposite. I think if I'm sober with Capricorn, I won't offend them. But if we're inebriated, then maybe I would offend them. I'm not really sure. Next is Gemini. Would I want to get drunk with Gemini? Honestly, no. No. I'm going to put them at the bottom. Because this is clearly a very subjective video. This is based on my preferences, my experience. This is about me, honestly. And with Gemini, no, that sounds really awkward. Me and Gemini tend to be awkward. It tends to be awkward because I myself have multiple Gemini placements. But me and another Gemini, I'm already an overthinker. So me with someone that has Gemini placements, we're both going to be overthinking. We're both going to be kind of observing each other and trying to adapt to each other. And that gets very confusing. There can actually be a lot of miscommunications that happen. It tends to just be very awkward. I don't know if it would be more or less awkward if we're getting drunk versus if we're sober. I honestly almost don't really think it matters. It just... I don't know, that just sounds incredibly awkward to me. It really does. Let me know what you think if you have Sun, Moon, or other major placements in Gemini. Can you imagine getting drunk with me? Like, would you want to do that? I wouldn't be offended either way. I'm just kind of curious what your opinion is. But, yeah, my experience and my opinion, I think that would not be ideal. Next is Leo. I tend to vibe pretty well. Honestly, now that I'm getting into this is almost kind of just like what sign I would want to hang out with. It's really not that different now that I kind of think about it. Leo, though, would I want to get drunk with him? I would say yes. I wouldn't be like really excited for it though. Like I want it, but I'm not excited though, because Leo is a fire sign. I tend to really I'm usually more like, me and fire signs are usually either like romantically slash sexually involved, or we're not involved at all, if that makes sense. Like, we're not usually friends, you know what I mean? Me and a fire sign, we're not going to be friends. It's usually either more or less than that, because they just have an energy that you know me, like I'm very laid back. You know, I'm honestly like I'm kind of a low energy personality. Like I can be wild in my own way, but fire signs have a certain amount of enthusiasm that I can't keep up with. You know what I mean? Like, but that being said, we can sometimes resonate on a very deep, like, very fun level. But anyway, Leo in particular, I can usually, it's more common for me to have a deep connection with Aries or Sagittarius if we're talking about fire signs. Leo, I'm not sure exactly why, but we don't usually connect on a deep level. Maybe it's because of my Virgo placements. Um, Leo is fun. I think they're very entertaining. I love their enthusiasm. I love their confidence. Love their energy. I admire them in many ways. But again, I just think that maybe we don't relate enough. Or we could like run that risk if that makes sense. Um, so like I could get drunk with them, but are we gonna actually relate a lot? I'm not sure that we would. Next is Libra. Libra's a very easy sign to hang out with. It's weird because before, I guess it's been like 5 years now. 5 years ago, I didn't know any Libras, but over the last 4 or 5 years, I've gotten to know many people with Sun or Moon in Libra, and now it's very easy for me to get along with them. I'm not sure why. I think part of it is because I've become more strong-willed. I've become more of a strong personality, if that makes sense, and Libras are attracted to that. Libra falls in my fifth house. That can be a lot of fun, but Libra and Virgo is, I have Virgo placements. Libra and Virgo is kind of a weird dynamic. I think they can be attracted to each other, but they can also be kind of like put off by each other as well. So I would say fun. Like this is another sign that I'm gonna be real honest with you. I'm increasingly becoming unattracted to Libra. They're very comfortable to be around, but at the same time, I feel like they kind of just always say what they think you want them to say, if that makes sense. And I really admire personalities that are more like forthright. I want to know who I'm talking to. Like, I'm already so changeable and inconsistent myself. Being with someone else who is that way as well, to me, that's just very confusing. I want to know who I'm talking to, if that makes sense. So, I'm still going to put Libra. Like, Libra's a great time. They're very fun. They're very receptive. You can kind of just bounce different ideas, different energies off of them, and they'll really help you to feel understood, but do they actually understand you? I don't really know. It's hard to know. So okay, next is Pisces. Honestly, this one is tricky for me because if we were just saying signs I'd want to hang out with, I would say Pisces probably not. I'd probably rank them pretty low. But if I'm getting drunk with them, this one is actually a little bit different. Because there are two signs. Actually, first, let me back up because sometimes I undersell myself. Sometimes I make myself sound worse than I actually am. When I say that there are signs that I haven't connected with as much as others, that doesn't mean I'm not like a valid astrologer, okay? I know all the signs more than most people. Most people that are into astrology, I know all the signs more than them, if that makes sense. I've been thinking about all the signs for many years. So I want to give myself credit where it's due. However, I think that what I'm about to say is actually true for any astrologer, any person. You're not going to have the same level of experience with all signs. At least, I don't know. I guess it's possible, but I think that would be pretty rare. My understanding of astrology is based not only on research I've done like online and on YouTube, but also like, experimentation and observation through people that I've met and people that I know. So of course, certain placements I've met more than others just by happenstance or just because of my own placements or whatever. So anyway, all that goes to say that there are two signs that I have less experience with than the others. Those would be Pisces and Scorpio. So because of that, although although I do see certain reasons why I might be not as attracted to those signs, on the other hand, that inexperience makes me that much more interested in those signs, makes me want to kind of I guess you could say study them, and I know that sounds creepy, but by that I just mean I would like to have more experiences with those signs. I would like to kind of know them on an intimate level. So getting drunk with them would be an excellent opportunity to do that. This is tricky. I would say hell yeah, and maybe that's just because I'm not sober right now, but Pisces is weird because I'm very mutable. I've got a lot of Virgo placements, a lot of Gemini placements, like I have already mentioned. So and it's weird because I get along with Sagittarius very well. But Pisces, I think sometimes we can kind of weird each other out because we're both so malleable and so adaptable. It's kind of like putting two negative magnets together. But on the other hand, we do have a lot in common. I think we're both focused on learning and kind of observing and being adaptable. So I don't know. I think there's some potential there. I think there's some potential for things to get really weird and awkward and unpleasant, maybe for both of us. But I also think we could have some fun too. I think there's some mystery there. So I'm still going to keep them on the top tier here. Next is Sagittarius. I'm going to throw them right on top. I have my descendant and my north node in Sagittarius. So I attract Sagittarius like a magnet. I relate to them. I think they relate to me. I heard once that, I forget where this comes from, but in order for someone to like someone, the person that they're going to like either has to be someone they admire or someone they relate to. And I've thought about that a lot over the years. Okay. I think this is important. You can apply this to astrology. So for for me to like a sign / want to hang out with them / want to get drunk with them, I either need to admire them or relate to them. With Sagittarius, I admire them and I want to relate to them. Or excuse me, I admire them and I relate to them. Sagittarius is adaptable and intellectual and kind of analytical like I am. But they're also a little bit more animalistic, more passionate, more fiery, more confident, more impulsive than I am. And those are all things that I admire. I admire the fire signs. I want to be more like a fire sign. But I'm more intellectual and mutable. And Sagittarius is all of those things. So, Sagittarius has always been one of my most favorite signs. Would I want to live with a Sagittarius or, marry a Sagittarius? That I would be a little bit more hesitant about. But if we're just getting drunk for one night, absolutely, that would be definitely top tier for sure. Next is Scorpio. So like I touched on with Pisces, Scorpio is another sign that I don't have as much experience with. I have noticed in the past year or so, like let's just say within 2024 so far. Right now it's November 2024. But so far this year, I have met many Scorpio sun people, and this might sound kind of vain, but I'm noticing that they like me. And I think the reason why is because I'm transparent and I'm real. I don't sugarcoat things. Sometimes I can be shy or kind of guarded, but I never truly hide anything, So I think they sense that. But I've never gotten really deep with Scorpio person, whether that be sun, moon. I have been close to some Scorpio rising people, but never sun or moon. And that's pretty unusual for me. Pretty much any sun or moon placement I've been close to, but not so much Scorpio. Even Pisces, sun and moon I've gotten to know more intimately than Scorpio. So that being said, yeah, I would love to get drunk with Scorpio. I'd love to get to know them a little better, especially sun or moon placements. I love detriment placements as well. So like moon or Venus in Scorpio. I've actually dated a Scorpio Venus person, so That doesn't really jive well with my Leo Venus. But Moon and Scorpio, that would be very interesting for sure. So I'm going to put them at the top. Next is Taurus. Would I want to get drunk with Taurus? Definitely yes. The only reason why I hesitated is because this chart is so lopsided now, but that's okay. Taurus, I'm going to say fun. They're just a very well-grounded, like well-rounded um, sign. They're definitely a crowd pleaser, so I think they would definitely be fun. Yeah, there's not much else to say about. They also have that kind of balance of, they do like to have a good time. They know how to have a good time. They could probably make some great drinks. But they're also not like too reckless, too rowdy. They still have one foot on the ground, so that's refreshing for sure. Okay, lastly is Virgo. So Virgo I'd put at the top, especially if it's someone with Virgo placements that I don't know. I think that would be really interesting because Virgo's a little bit guarded at first, but once you show them a little kindness, or once you're just even slightly emotionally vulnerable, they'll connect with you, at least in my experience. Maybe this is because of my own astrology, but once you just show them a little bit of softness, they will open right up, and they like to talk. Only if they're comfortable, but as soon as you make them comfortable, they will talk to you all night, and I love that as well. So especially someone I don't know with Sun or Moon in Virgo, or other placements for that matter. Yeah, I think this would be a no-brainer. I'm familiar with this energy. It's easy for me to navigate. We have a lot in common. We can talk all night. That would be a great time. Plus, also, Virgo is generally responsible, and they're not going to be too outlandish, generally speaking. But at the same time, in my experience, Virgos know how to party more than most people realize. So they could potentially party all night, so to speak. So I think that could be a great time. So yeah. As usual, let me know what you think. If you want a reading, hit me up. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Have a great day.